morning, everyone. Hi there, good morning. Here we are. Let's see, we've got some friends jumping on with us. I'm Rev Katherine Economou, and it's my joy to welcome you here to our service this morning from my house. We have been on a little bit of an adventure with the community, with all the construction that's happening at CSL TV in the lodge. And so we were trying to figure out the best place to be, and this turns out to be it today. So we're so glad you're with us. We wish you were actually with us in person, but we are ready to get started on a great service for you. And so I'm going to turn it over to Danielle, and we're going to get going.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Make yourself comfortable, and we'll start with our centering song. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, everyone. I invite each and every one of you to open up the doors of your heart, for that surely is where the presence of God resides in each and every one of us. And I know that there is that one power, that one presence, that one creator, that one divine intelligence, that one all and everything which I choose to call God. For it is the power which has created all that there is. And it is that same power which knows how to maintain and sustain all and everything. And I know that the one is endowed with all the divine qualities of God, of justice and freedom and life and light and love and peace and joy, happiness, harmony, balance, beauty, divine wisdom, wholeness, and abundance, and all and everything, and much more. And as I know that I have been manifest and created in the spiritual image and likeness of the one, that I too am endowed with all those same divine qualities. And as I know this to be true for myself, I absolutely know this to be true for each and every person within the sound of my voice. And I know and declare that today's service flows with grace and ease. The weather is beautiful. The universe is wonderful. And the service inspires and resonates with each and every one of us. And the music is absolutely beautiful. So I simply allow it to be, and so it is.
Thank you, Jim. Absolutely. And so let's give some love for Jim for your meditation this morning. That was great, and coming out and supporting us. And to our music team, Danielle and Mike, you guys did a great job this morning. Thank you. And I, again, want to welcome you. I'm Reverend Katherine, and I never thought we'd be doing this again. I never thought we'd be trying to figure out how we're going to do service in the way that that we have to do it. But here we are. You know, we're absolutely trained and able to flow with it because the last couple of years we've been through it. And so when there was a flood and we had to get out, and they're in the process of completely tearing the whole thing apart. I put up some pictures and some videos this week. I've been doing weekly updates just so you can see. And I walked into the sanctuary and was shocked at how much they had taken out and what they're doing. But it's going really quickly. So we are hopeful. I don't have a specific plan to be able to tell you what we're going to be doing next Sunday. I wish I did. But we're still working on that. So you're going to have to keep close to our website, to our Facebook and your email, because that's how we'll spread the information as to whether we'll be online one more week next week or whether we can find a space to meet together. But we're working really hard on that. And whether you're just scrolling by and finding us on Facebook, whether you've been a long time member and supporter of CSL TV, or whether you're my neighbors who might not be so happy that I'm doing service on Sunday morning in the backyard, we want to welcome you. We want to let you know that we are so grateful that you found us, and I hope that there's something in this service that inspires you, that touches your heart, that supports you in knowing the beauty and the blessings of this life. And that's why CSL TV is here. We're here to remind ourselves and each other that there is goodness and wonderment in life, and we call that God, that living close to the Spirit, and everything that we do supports us in doing that more, so that we can experience a balanced, joyful life. And so it's in that spirit of love that I welcome you this morning. And I think we're going to move straight into a chant. I think we're going to do some singing. Now, again, I can't hear you where you are, but I'll know if you're singing, so join us.
That's right. We're going to sing Center of Creation this morning together. I am a center of creation. I am a seed planted in stillness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am a seed rooted in fullness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am complete, living in wholeness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God.
Yay, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we're going to move into our moment of gratitude today. This is a spiritual practice that we do together to ground ourselves in that powerful creative force of gratitude. And so I'm going to invite you to just pause right where you are. We're going to do a simple practice today. I want you to move into your heart space, just that sacred space within. I always like to put my hands over my heart to bring my focus there, and take a nice full breath. And today I want you to just focus on what wants to come forward for you to be grateful for. What is it that you are grateful for today? We don't need to reach for it. We don't need to pick something or make something up to be grateful for. There's something to be grateful for in every moment. And so I want you to just allow it to reveal itself to you. What is calling for acknowledgement and gratitude in your mind and your heart on this day? And just breathing into that. Let that feeling grow and expand. And fill you with gratitude. One more nice full breath. And then gently bring yourself on back. It's that simple. Spiritual practice can be that simple. And it can serve you and support you. And that's why we, every week, we have our moment of gratitude to remind us that there's always something that we can be grateful for. And so today, I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful that you've shown up today and that we are, no matter when you're watching this, whether it's live or later on, that we are able to connect and commune together. And so it is. And so with that, Jim's got a reading for us.
Our spiritual reading for today comes from the book for May, Essential Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm by Thich Nhat Hanh. Most of us experience a life full of wonderful moments and difficult moments. But for many of us, even when we are most joyful, there is fear behind our joy. We fear that this moment will end, that we won't get what we need, that we will lose what we love, or that we will not be safe. Often, our biggest fear is the knowledge that one day our bodies will cease functioning. So even when we are surrounded by all the conditions for happiness, our joy is not complete. We think that to be happier, we should push away or ignore our fear. We don't feel at ease when we think of the things that scare us, so we deny our fear away. Oh no, I don't want to think about that. We try to ignore our fear, but it is still there. The only way to ease our fear and be truly happy is to acknowledge our fear and look deeply at its source. Instead of trying to escape from our fear, we can invite it up to our awareness and look at it clearly and deeply. We have the power to look deeply at our fears, and then fear cannot control us. We can transform our fear. The practice of living fully in the present moment, what we call mindfulness, can give us the courage to face our fears and no longer be pushed and pulled around by them. And so it is.
I am light, I am light. 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 I'm not the things my family did. I'm not the voices in my head. I'm not the broken pieces inside. I am light. 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 I mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my size. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. I am 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 divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am the start, a piece of it all. I am light.
Woo, woo, woo. There's no way we're going to be able to give you enough applause that will fit that, but we love you. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. And so I'm hoping you're giving a lot of applause, throwing some hearts up there for our music team, Danielle and Mike. You guys, that was great. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so I'm going to try and do this and not have all my notes fly away. So I think I have a system. So we shall see. We shall see. First of all, I want to give an extra shout out to Mike, who's sitting here in the sun in a sweatshirt this morning. So God bless you, Mike. It was freezing when we came, and now you can cool off in the shade. Sorry about that. It is always an adventure here. Maybe it's in my life or in our life together, but I'm very... I saw someone put something up about how we flow with it. Yes, we are called to flow with it sometimes, and that's the moment that we're in right now. But here we are. This year, we're exploring the concept of wonder in our everyday lives. And that magic and mystery that happens, that reminds us that no matter how mundane we think our lives are, it'll always surprise us and thrill us. Something always shows up to surprise us and thrill us and remind us that there's something greater operating here. And I'm going to help. I'm going to be helpful. Because I know it's going to happen. No, it's good. I got you. It's right there. I got you. It's not my notes that are flying. So if we want another song, that's good that we did that. Okay. All right. So anyways, but I don't know about you, but what I'm realizing is that as we've gone through these months, now we're in, May. Happy May. How did it get to be May? There's some Justin Timberlake thing about it's May, and I still don't get that. So if someone can explain that to me later, I would really appreciate it because I don't quite get it. But anyways, so here we are in May, and we've been doing this for 5 months now. And so we've been looking at wonder in every day. And I'm actually really doing that. I'm looking for the wonder and the magic in every day. And what I'm realizing is that really takes putting your attention on it, being willing to look for it. being open and creating space to say, okay, show up life, show up God or spirit or whatever word you want to use for it. That's between you and God. But you have to invite it in, and we have to look for it. And when you do look for it, you find it. I always say that when you're looking for something, you're going to find it. There's always something to be found. And so what are we looking for? Are we looking for the joy? Are we looking for the awe? Are we looking for the wonder? Are we looking for the pain? Are we looking for the drama? Are we looking for the next challenge? Got to get ready for that. I don't know what's coming. Looking for that? You don't want to do that. We want to look for the awe and the joy. And so this month, our theme's about emotions, right? And our emotions are a huge topic to explore. And just in the time that I started to do the research on it in the last 2 or 3 weeks, 2 new books came out about it. 2 new books hit the market about how we interact with and dance with our emotions in our lives. And it's because it's such an important topic. So the wide variety of emotions serves to add spice to our human experience. And my talk title today is What's on Your Spice Rack? That emotional spice rack. As we begin to wake up to how emotions operate and bring flavor and color to our lives. But before I get there, I got a little something for you first. And this is hard to do when you're not here. So my friends who are here, just be prepared. You know what you're going to need to do. All right. Did you hear about the shipment of spices that fell into the ocean? It was a huge waste of time. Okay. Also, I met a really wise spice trader. He was known for his sage advice. This is my favorite. I have to be quiet about it, though, because this is about my neighbor. So, you know what? I was walking the other day, and my neighbor shared with me that he was trying to spice things up a bit in his marriage. So he asked his wife to talk dirty to him. And he said to me, though, telling me how dusty the garage was and about the mold in the shower was not what he was hoping for. So he was a little disappointed about that. So we'll hope that things will get better for them. Okay, yeah. All right, so I tried. All right, so I do that every once in a while. I got to give you a little something funny. There are so many types of emotions with varying levels and degrees of intensity, right? But they're like a spice rack that spices on our spice rack that bring energy and flavor and warmth to our experiences, like spices bring to our food, to our dishes. And what I want to remind us is that all emotions are beneficial to us, like and they all have wisdom and information and lessons to offer to us. The key here for us is to not let our emotions take over, is to not get swept away by them. And to find balance in our ability to relate to our emotions. So when we do that, we start to create balance in our lives. So our emotions are amazing resources that help us learn more about who we are and bring that energy to our experiences. Just think if we didn't have any emotions, right? Just think about it, what it would be like if every day was just monotone and the same. And what kind of an existence would that be? That would be gray, right? There'd be no color to it. There'd be no unfoldment to it. There'd be no arc to our experiences, right? It would just be boring. But with our emotions, our lives are filled with highs and lows and moments of expansion and expression and moments of pulling in and retreating within. And they can provide us with a lot of information if we let them, because they can serve as a guide for reflection, for understanding, and for growth. One of the popular people who's talking about emotions right now is Brené Brown. She has done amazing research on emotions, and right now she's got there's a book called The Atlas of the Heart, which I'm looking at doing something with later in the year. But The Atlas of the Heart is a really beautiful book, and she's got an HBO special, actually a series that talks about what we're talking about. And so she does a lot of research on what it means to be human, and she's found the power of language and emotion to be 2 key factors in our well-being. So what she says is that the majority of us humans have a very limited language of just a handful of emotions. most people know basically of basic 4 of them, right? Happiness, sadness, anger, fear. That's the emotional intelligence, emotional understanding, which is the equivalent of a 2nd grade emotional education. But through her work and her research, Brene Brown realized that she pinpointed a number more emotions. And I'm going to let you guess. Anybody have a guess how many, if you haven't read the book? Do you know how many emotions? How many emotions do you think there are? So throw a number.
20.
20, okay.
Infinite.
32.
32. Any more?
43.
43. Okay, 87. She found 87 distinct and different emotions. And most of us are living with 3 or 4, an understanding of 3 or 4. Can you see how that's really limiting us in our experience and what these emotions are trying to tell us? Because if our emotions are guiding us to a deeper understanding of what's happening within us, and we can only say, I'm either happy or I'm sad. I'll stay over here. I'm either happy or I'm sad, right? Well, if that's all that, there's a continuum within that has a lot of other concepts and ideas that we are just missing. So what Brene Brown says is that the ability to name our feelings is a crucial skill for us, because if we want to find our way back to ourselves, she says, and one another, we need a language for it. We need to be able to relate, and the way that we relate to one another is through our languaging and the grounded confidence to both tell our story, tell what our needs are, tell what our expectations are, and to hear what somebody else's needs and expectations are. And so when we start to really understand what it is that we're feeling, what it is that's coming up, because everything is purposeful. Our emotions are purposeful. And even though sometimes it's uncomfortable to be angry. For a lot of us, it's uncomfortable to be in fear. It's uncomfortable to have anxiety, but it's purposeful. There's something that is triggering that in us. And when we learn to be present with ourselves and understand that, there's wisdom right behind it. There's wisdom that wants to come up and be shared and experienced within us, that's going to come forward if we allow ourselves to name and know what it is that we're feeling. We need to wake up to how we are dealing with the emotions in our lives. We need to understand how we are relating to them, because how we're interacting with them. Because if we're ignoring them and pretend that they aren't there and just keep going no matter what, right? Like, it's like we don't pause to reflect. We don't pause to inquire. We don't pause to try and figure anything out. We just say, okay, I'm angry about this, but I got to keep going. And we just keep going and we keep going. Then we end up just on that hamster wheel. And what happens is, when we stuff something, when we have an uncomfortable emotion and we pretend that we don't, right? I'm not mad. It's fine. I got over it. I can handle it. Whatever. When we start to stuff those emotions, when we start to pretend that we're not disappointed, that someone's hurt our feelings, when we pretend that everything's okay, even though our hearts are broken, or we're disappointed, or we feel abandoned, whatever that is, what we have learned is that you start to stuff it, it ends up in an Instant Pot that's about to explode. It stays there long enough until the pressure, and I've changed from pressure cooker to Instant Pot because most everybody I know has an Instant Pot right now, so you know what we're talking about. And we're all afraid to hit that button when you put it on to know that it's not going to explode, right? I'm hoping that someone gets my reference on that, but okay. So the idea that when we stuff those emotions, there's energy there for it, and if we ignore it, it ends up exploding in our face. And then we're left with a mess of emotional debris that we don't understand, because it's completely out of perspective and out of the perspective of what originally happened, that was the trigger. Have you ever had that where you end up just having an explosion of emotion, even though it was just a small little thing? Well, that's because we've been repressing our needs, and we've been ignoring what it is that we're desiring, and life won't be ignored anymore. It won't let us not engage fully. So what we're going to do this month is that we're going to dive into those 4 key emotions: fear, happiness, anger, sadness, and explore the other emotions that cluster with it so that we can start to create a language and a broader language and a deeper understanding of how emotions can operate. So rather than run from a difficult emotion when it arises, we'll seek to face it with curiosity and wonderment and look for the blessings that it brings. Because our emotions are important in our lives. And it's important for us to be conscious as to how we're interacting with them so that we can get to balance. Again, the goal here is balance. So most of us growing up, unfortunately, weren't taught how to handle our emotions. It's not part of the curriculum in most of our families or in school, right? Our parents and our grandparents, they came up, they were the product of challenging times. We're still talking about Depression era babies and the Great War, right? And let's face it, in challenging times, when we're operating on survival, dealing with things like emotions, it seems a little bit self-indulgent. And it wasn't a priority for them. But we live in different times, and even though we've been through a very challenging time, understanding how these emotions are operating with us will serve us greatly. And emotional intelligence will support us in handling how these rocks and these rocky moments show up in our paths. And most of us do have a habit of running from our emotions. We're taught to not engage in them. We're taught that we need to shut them down, those negative emotions, and therefore we hide from them or we run from them. And especially, stereotypically men are taught very early that it's not okay to feel your emotions. I mean, we all are, but in particular, men are taught not to cry, and they're taught you need to be tough, and that, unfortunately, that message is still operating in our culture. But it's changing a little bit. I saw a story this week that really moved me. It was this young Hispanic man who he's in his 20s, and he fell in love with this young woman who had a child from a previous relationship. And this little toddler, she was 3 or 4, I think she was 4. He's been in her life now for 3 years, before she could probably know who he was. And he showed up and he stepped into that role of stepfather in a way that was really admirable. He took care of them and he got them a new place to live, and they started this life together. And what they did was the daughter made him a special picture, and she wrote Dad on it. And in the video, what she does is she presents it to him on his birthday. And on the back of it was this beautiful writing about what a stepdad is, coming in and loving somebody else's child and protecting and all the things that they did. And this young girl in this beautiful dress walks up to him and hands him this beautiful little card she made for him. And he wept. He just openly wept. He started to turn at first and was embarrassed and was starting to shield himself. And he turned back around. And he opened his arms wide, and she ran into his arms, and he swept her up and wept. And I just realized, and it came right at the exact right moment, right, for me to realize that there's a possibility of embracing it, the beauty, right? Because even those things that are uncomfortable for us, showing vulnerability, we have to trust each other. We need to hold each other's hearts gently in our hands, and we need to trust one another. And to know that we can be vulnerable with each other and create spaces where we can do that. Because how beautiful is it when we share our lives together, when we share those difficult moments, when we share those glorious moments. We can share our grief, we can share our joy, and it makes life so much richer, and it helps us understand why we're feeling what we're feeling. Society trained us that certain emotions are good and certain emotions are bad. Now, some are more uncomfortable to experience, and some are more blissful and joyful, like bliss and joy. But there aren't any, there aren't any good and bad emotions. We berate ourselves when we're feeling more depression, when we're feeling more sadness, when we think there's something wrong with us. But it's part of that wide array of normal human emotion. And as we engage with this part, again, it can serve us and support us. by facing our emotions and looking underneath them, we can see what our belief system is triggering in them. And what we're going to find is that when these emotions come up, it's either an unmet expectation or need. We have some expectation on a situation and it's not being met and we haven't talked about it. Or we have a need that we can't either acknowledge or we can't share, and it's not being met. And so that's when some of those lower rung, darker emotions show up. The abandonment, the unworthiness, the unlovability, all of those things start to come up when we think we tell a story about something that's happening. But more often than not, we don't communicate enough to check in and to find out. So that's why we're talking about facing these things with curiosity. So we're called to learn how to be present, and the terminology that I've been using is make welcome. How can we make welcome our emotional lives? How can we make welcome what we're really feeling? And I think about that like if I have people come to my home, how can I make them welcome? Am I going to ignore them? Am I going to pretend that they're not it's not happening, that they're not there? Like sometimes we do with those negative emotions. I'm going to just pretend I'm okay. It's fine. Am I going to ignore the people who are showing up to spend time with me? Just like my emotions have shown up to spice my life, to make it better. Or am I going to embrace it, open the door, and spend some time with it, even if it's an uncomfortable conversation, even if it's a challenging guest? And I don't have any of those here today. Everybody's lovely today in my house. But no, even if it's a challenging guest, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a conversation with them. And that's what we want to do with our emotions, is we want to just be present with them long enough. And that's why our spiritual practice is so important. And especially I'm going to talk this month a lot about journaling, because journaling is something that can help us understand what we're feeling and what those thoughts and beliefs are beneath it. The one thing I'm going to really point out today and encourage us to practice is there's something called the 90-second pause. Now, this comes from Harvard brain scientist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. And you might remember her. She's the one who wrote about her own stroke experience in My Stroke of Insight. She's an amazing researcher. Anyways, what she says is that 90 seconds is all that it takes to identify an emotion and allow it to dissipate while you simply watch it. When you're stressed, pausing just for 90 seconds and labeling what you're feeling. I'm angry. I'm getting angry. What it does is it tamps down the activity in the part of your brain called the amygdala. And MRI studies of the brain show that this emotion labeling, when we do that, it calms it down. It calms that brain region down, and that it's involved with angry outbursts. And it helps you get back control. You know that feeling of when our emotion kind of rises up, it just swells up and takes over. What you want to do is you want to excuse yourself, get to a place where you can just be present for 90 seconds and just breathe into that moment. What she says is that when a person has a reaction to something in their environment, there's a 90-second chemical process that happens in the body. And after that, any remaining emotional response is just the person choosing to stay in the emotional loop. So something happens in our external world, and chemicals are flushed through our body, which puts it on full alert. For those chemicals to totally flush out of the body, it just takes 90 seconds. This means that for 90 seconds, you can watch the process happening, you can feel it happening, and then you can watch it go away. Now, after that, if you continue to feel the fear, if you continue to feel the anger or whatever it is, you need to look at the thoughts that you're thinking that are re-stimulating that circuitry that's resulting in you having the physiological reaction over and over again. And that's so great. I got really excited because that's our jam, right? That's our purview. That's what we talk about. So the idea is this: when something happens and you have an emotional reaction, trying to be present with it and just breathe into that space and labeling, this is what I'm feeling. I know it's simplistic, but when you label, I am angry, no, I'm disappointed, no, I'm feeling betrayed, when you get to that place and you can just be present with it, after 90 seconds, it'll calm down. Now, if it's not calming down, what's probably happening is your brain has taken over that thought process. oh, here he goes again, disappointing me again, betraying me, saying he's going to do something, and then they go and do something else, and there it goes again, and you keep re-stimulating it and re-stimulating it, so you have all those 90 seconds to get all of those chemicals flushed through you. But when we practice mindfulness, when we start to do meditation, when we allow ourselves to be present, we practice that, and we can start to really see that. We can watch our thoughts, we can watch our experiences, we can watch what's happening, and without judgment, and that can help our emotions move through us more quickly. You know, some of us are ruled by our emotions, but I want to remind us that we are at cause of them. That we are not at the effect of our emotions, we are at cause. When we can be curious, when we can be present with them, when we can allow them to share the wisdom that they have to share with us, then we start to be at cause. We don't have to get bowled over by our emotions. We don't need to, allow them to take over our lives. We can put them into perspective and start to question, okay, what's going on here? Why is this happening? And what's triggering it? And that information will start to guide us in a new direction. Our goal is to create balance. Our goal is to allow harmony within our mind and our heart and our lives. It has to start within. And that begins by being conscious of our emotional life and just allowing our intention of creating balance. So, again, going back to our idea of our emotions as spice for our lives, just think about, if our mixture is too spicy or too dull, those are key indicators that there's certain areas of our lives that need some extra focus and attention. These are learning opportunities for alignment with the highest expression of who we've come here to be, and alignment with our potential and our possibility to open to healing. And by paying attention to those signs and those signals, we gather so much more information that in any one normal sense, when we're not paying attention, we would just miss it. Our lives are filled with wisdom for us. Our lives are filled with direction and support. It's that wonderment and that awe. And we have to allow ourselves to be present enough to remember that and allow that wisdom to serve us and support us. So my goal is by the end of the month for us to each create our own individual spice mix, right? You don't want to take way too much cayenne and chili powder and put it with herbs de Provence and some lavender. That would be a mess. But what we want to do is find that perfect blend of spices, those perfect emotions to engage in, to embrace, and to welcome in our lives, to open to the wisdom that wants to be revealed to us. And so that what's on your spice rack is the joy of life, is that amazing, complex, rich, deep experience. And I know that as we create balance in our emotional lives, we begin to create balance in all of our lives. And that's where the joy and the fun starts. And so I'm going to invite you to join me this month as we look at all these emotions and find a new way of relating to them. And just allow what wants to come forward with ease and with grace and with joy from wherever we end up being. And so it is. All right. Yes. And so with that, all right, so we have a new friend joining us today. I'm so excited to introduce you to we've got a soloist with us today, Joanna Pearl. And so Joanna, come on up. She's going to share a song with us.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain, and I will scream it loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. And my power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing trance and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Said I'm in too deep. Been 2 years, I miss my home. There's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe in all those things I didn't say. Wrecking balls inside my brain. And I will scream it loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, spinning big wheels in emotion. And like how a single man can make a heart open, I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. And I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. And I still got a lot of fight left in me.
Ah, wonderful.
Beautiful.
And so that's our new friend Joanna Pearl. You're going to hear a little bit more about her in a bit here. This is the time of our service when I'm going to remind us all about the importance of sacred giving, especially in this month when we're online. I want to remind you that participating in sacred giving and supporting the vision and the mission of this center is another spiritual practice that will support you in moving into that place of divine flow and supporting all of us coming together to create this sacred spiritual community. And so since we're all online, there's a couple of ways that you can participate. You could go over to that website at csltv.org and hit that donate button, and it goes directly through. You could call our administrator, Cecilia Birch, who's in our temporary office this morning. Good morning, Cecilia. You could call her at 951-304-0268. And she could run a credit card for you, or you could send an offering in through the mail. Just know that we are absolutely so grateful. And, you know, in this moment when we still don't know and are just flowing with it, what I do know is that we are connected to a group of dedicated, supportive, loving, generous congregants who are aligned to this idea that we're creating something magical, which we know we are. And we were talking about just the other day, Danielle and I, when we were talking to Joanna, we were talking about what's been happening and how things have been feeling, and then we have to move out, and so we don't want to lose our momentum. And what came to me out of prayer this week was really a deep understanding that this truly is God's church, and that we are unfolding and it's going to be okay, and we're unfolding in our divine way. And there's something in this for us that's serving. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm open to receiving that wisdom as to what's happening in this. So anyways, I want you to think of your offering that you're going to share, and just put that energy in your heart, and let us just bless it, knowing that we are each blessed. That divine presence of God that moves and breathes itself in all things, through all things, is present here in this moment. And I know for each and every one of us, we are divinely sourced and supported from on high, that this gift that we give is a gift of God that has come to each of us, that moves forth to that which we want to see grow and expand. And so I simply bless this offering and know that our congregation far and wide leans in to support this unfolding vision, this unfolding mission, this unfolding ministry, creating space to welcome the joy of life for us individually and collectively. And so just blessing it, I allow it to be, and so it is. And so together, if you remember, we're going to say our affirmation of abundance. It is divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And I think we got a couple rounds for us.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
All right, so a mic would be good. All right, so I have some announcements. We are finally to the place where I have so many announcements I can't do all of them, which is amazing to me, which I'm happy about. All right, so our Science of Mind book study has finished their current book and are taking a break until May 11th. So they'll reconvene on May 11th with their new book, The Secret Wisdom of Nature by Peter Woolben. You want to contact practitioners Julie Nims or Ann Woodward, and their contact information is on our website, so that you can be added to the Zoom invitation. The book study is on Wednesdays from 10 to noon. So again, they're off this week, and I believe they start again next week on May 11th. Our foundations class started online with me last Tuesday, and it's not too late to join. If you want to take this foundational level class, it's a 10-week class, and it goes through the foundational beliefs of the spiritual principles of the science of mind. And you can, there's a link in the chat, and it's on our website. You could hit that registration link and join us for class. It's Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. The morning meditations, we are going to start a new 40-day morning meditation program starting tomorrow morning. And so this is based on Reverend Michael Beckwith from Agape in LA, his book, The Mind Fast Soul Feast. And it's a 40-day program, and we're going to meet Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. for 15 minutes of a centering and a meditation. And you can register on the link, and you'll get the Zoom invitation. Or you can send me an email directly at revkatherine@csltv.org, and I can send you the Zoom link. It's really great. We jump on for 15 minutes. Sometimes I'm the only one who shows myself. Everybody else has their cameras off, so I don't care if you have your camera on or not. I will, so sorry. And we get on for a 15-minute centering meditation, and it's a really wonderful way to start the day. I invite you to join me for that. The Gifts of Spirit, the Gifts of Spirit group, their monthly meeting is coming up on May 10th. And they'll be meeting at the home of practitioner Ann Woodward for talent sharing. She's saying sing a song, play an instrument, tell a joke, read a poem, share a work of art, anything that you're doing, and join in the culinary delights of a potluck. So they'll begin at 6:30, and she invites all who would like to express the great joy of the creative spirit that expresses in each of us. Make new friends and share the love. Okay, deep breath here. So we are having a church picnic in 2 Sundays. I don't know where service is going to be, but we are having a picnic that day after service from 12 to 3 p.m. And it's at the Temecoo Hills Park. And we're going to provide, the board's going to provide hamburgers and hot dogs and a vegetarian option. And we're inviting everybody to bring a side dish to share, a side dish or a dessert or a drink to share. There is a registration link. There's an RSVP link that they're going to put in the chat today. And we just want a head count because we're not really in person. We don't know. We want to make sure we have enough food, but we don't want to overbuy either. So if you could just RSVP if you're thinking of coming and let us know how many are in your party, that'll be great. You can we want you to, bring your chairs and your blankets, and we're going to get ready for a lovely afternoon in the park together. So we'll, bring some games and some fun times together. So we're looking forward to that. The construction at the center continues. I keep putting up videos every week. Last week I was shocked when I walked in there, but I was hopeful too, because if they got that far, maybe they'll get much further this week. Like I said, I was hoping that I'd have good news that we had a spot where we could meet starting next week, and that we're just not quite there yet. So we're still trying really hard to find a space for us to meet in this interim time without moving the times of service. So that's what we're working on. And please let us know if this worked for you this week. You could send me an email or drop a note or a DM in on my Facebook, and just let us know how this was for you. And we are doing our best to find a space for us to meet together. And I'm hoping that that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks before the whole construction on the center is done. So one of those two things is going to happen, and I'm just hoping that it happens quickly. So watch your emails, watch our social media, check our website, and that's where all of the most updated information will be. All right, I need a sip of water for this one. All right, and I have some news to share, which, these are never easy, and especially not being in person, it makes it a little more difficult. So you're going to come stand next to me. All right, so last year we had the best gift show up to us in a beautiful package of a petite woman with a huge voice and a ginormous heart. When we had the changeover with our music director, Danielle, I approached Danielle and asked her to come on board with us. And she said to me, at the time she said yes, and then she said, I can do it for the summer. Because back last year, if you remember, last year we were still coming out of COVID. We weren't even in person when she started with us. And she's part of this amazing band called the Mighty Untouchables. And if you have a chance to see them, you really should. They're incredible. And she said, but at the end of the summer, the band's going to get busy again, and I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I told her just recently that all last year in September and October, I wouldn't look at her directly in the face because I was afraid she was going to tell me that her time was up. But we got so lucky because she stayed for 10 months. And what has happened is the band has gotten so busy. They're so booked. Like this month, this is the only day she could be here. And because the band is traveling and they're so busy. And so we had a nice cry and a lovely embrace. And I can't look at her now either because she saved me and she saved us this past year and has been such a blessing and a gift. And unfortunately, this is Danielle's last Sunday with us. And however sad I am about having to say goodbye to her, I'm so happy for her to choose for her well-being and her balance, because her daughters have soccer games on Sundays that she hasn't been able to go to, and they've got a lot of things going on, and they're so busy, and So for however sad we are to lose her, we want to bless her in her life and know that she just lives down the road. And what I have worked out with Danielle is that when we get back in person after the construction, I've invited her to come back so that we could have an honoring and a party for her. So to start, we're giving her our traditional love gift, which is a planter of succulents for your house. This is for you. But her real gift we're gonna give her real gift when she's back in person. And I'm hoping that will be in June, where we can all embrace her and we can have one of our famous big potlucks and tell her how much we love her and how wonderful she's been for us, because you have been wonderful. And bringing on Mike and recreating our music department here, helping us get our sound equipment. She's done so much for us and for me, and I'm so grateful, and I'm going to miss you like crazy. And our great news is, and I'm going to call her up too, is that Joanna Pearl is going to come in and help us out. And so I'm so glad that we were able to introduce her to you today. And she's going to be with us next week, right? You're with us next week. Yes, so she's with us next week, and we've got some people coming through, but we're so excited that she's going to support us. She's local and an amazing musician. She's been a professional musician for over 10 years. You're going to get to know her and more about her in the coming weeks, but we're so glad that you said yes and you're coming on to help us. And so we can't really lose, because we've got amazing people supporting us left and right. And so with that, I forgot what I'm doing next. Oh, I'm going to do prayer next, so we'll let you sit. Jim's going to come back, and instead of crying, which I'm glad I didn't cry, I'm going to pray. And so as we take a breath, and just know that right where we are, the power of life lives. Right where we are, the love of life, that love of God is alive as us. That infinite wisdom, that potential, that possibility, all of it sits right at the center of our being. That divine spark that lights up every man, woman, and child is alive within each of us. And as I breathe into that space, into that absolute knowing, I know that this day unfolds in the grace and the love of God. I know for each and every one of us, within the sound of my voice, no matter when they touch this prayer, that the grace of God brings comfort and peace, wisdom and guidance, love and light. And so that which is wanting to be healed is healed. That which is wanting to be let go of is let go of, and embraced and made welcome is made welcome. And this is simply the unfoldment of Spirit as us. And so I bless each and every one of us, knowing that God is right there, guiding, supporting, and loving us into our fullest expression. And in that, all is well. And so I surrender my word and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was in hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you've got to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Yes. And as we move forward in this week, I know we go guided, supported, and loved. And so it is. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so grateful that you joined us today. And keep watch. It's always an adventure for me and my neighbors. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Take care.